Catherine and Rodney got married a few years ago. It often happens that couples start to lose touch with their old friends and social circles as soon as they enter into family life, but that wasn't the case with Katia. She had been inseparable from Nadine since high school. Nadine, although shy by nature, always had a talent for coming up with bizarre, sometimes downright outlandish ideas so unexpected that she even had to gently dissuade Katia from them. Fortunately, after Katia tied the knot, Nadine seemed to calm down a bit and stopped dragging her friend into questionable adventures. Even after getting married, Katia continued to spend time with Nadine, though there were some small changes now that her life had shifted a little. However, when it came to group outings that involved her husband, it was a different story. One Saturday, during their usual meet-up at the park, Nadine, full of excitement, said, "There's this amazing concert happening next weekend, we have to go." Katia agreed, but only if they didn't stay out too late. "Of course, we'll be done by 10, Nadine promised. "I'm so looking forward to it. Who knows, maybe I'll even meet someone," she trailed off dreamily. It's important to note that Nadine had been on a bit of a quest for a partner. All her friends were married, and she felt a bit left out. She tried everything from online dating apps to striking up conversations with strangers in line at grocery stores, but her shyness always seemed to get in the way, even though she tried to put on a more outgoing front. While online communication helped a bit, luck hadn't really been on her side in that area either. "The day of the concert has arrived. Katia assured me that she would be home by 11:30. As a polite gesture, she even invited him to join, although she knew that he was not enthusiastic about such an event. When Katia met Nadine, she was stunned by what her friend was wearing. The outfit was so bold and catchy that it literally demanded attention. Before they left, Katia asked her friend what kind of night they were in for, unsure about how to handle any potential advances from men. Should she brush them off? How was she supposed to act? Nadine assured her that she'd have her back and guide her through it, knowing full well that Katia was much more interested in just being with her husband. Despite all the assurances, Katia's calm lasted less than an hour. After a quick glance to the side, she saw her friend walking towards her, followed by a man and then another stranger. It was clear that Nadine had not kept her promise. Feeling a little betrayed, Katia braced herself for what was about to happen. Nadine leaned in and whispered, reminding her to just go with the flow and be sociable. Though hesitant, Katia agreed. The two men introduced themselves and offered drinks. Nadine was clearly smitten by her new suitor, eagerly agreeing to whatever he suggested. Meanwhile, Katia's interaction with Max the suitor was cordial but restrained. Even though he was charming and good-looking, there was no pressure, just a polite exchange of words. A few days later, Nadine suggested they meet at their favorite restaurant after work. Katia, sensing that something was off, asked what was going on. Just as she waited for an answer, the men from the concert showed up at their table. That's when it hit her: Nadine had set up a double date without telling her. Katia felt a wave of mixed emotions, remembering a similar situation where Nadine had suggested something strange and unexpected. This time, however, her friend had clearly been playing a different game. Just as Katia was about to confront Nadine, Max walked over with a warm, disarming smile. In that instant, her anger melted away. They struck up such a pleasant conversation that, before she knew it, Katia had slipped off her wedding ring for the evening. She wanted to feel free, especially in the company of someone as captivating as Max. A week later, Katia found herself going on a secret date with Max, keeping it hidden from her husband. She was afraid to admit to herself that she was beginning to develop feelings for him. Despite her original intent to end things after each meeting, she found herself drawn deeper into the affair as their encounters went beyond simple walks and dinners. As Katia's feelings for Max intensified, her husband began to notice a change in her behavior. She seemed lost in thought, distracted and distant. One night, she returned home very late, and Rodney, worried, almost set out to look for her. Just as he was about to act, she finally walked through the door. He embraced her tightly, relieved she was safe. But as he buried his face in her hair, a scent of unfamiliar men's cologne wafted up to him. Curious but not yet confronting her, he decided to watch her more closely. After she cleaned herself up and changed into a nightgown, her husband noticed something he couldn't ignore: a hickey on her chest. Considering that there had been no intimacy between them lately due to her constant overwork, it seemed obvious that the other man was to blame. In a calm, confident voice, he asked her who this man was and if she had him. The question caught her off guard, leaving her speechless for a moment. She stared at her husband with her mouth slightly open, tears welling up in her eyes. Keisha didn't know how to come up with excuses right away, so the moment was almost right. She couldn't hold back anymore. Through tears, she confessed that she didn't know how it happened, but what started as a simple friendship turned into a romance. She confessed to the double date, expressed regret, and apologized. The husband was stunned by the outpouring of confessions and remained silent, digesting the information he received. As Keisha sobbed, she looked at her husband, her eyes filled with hope. She couldn't bring herself to ask for forgiveness or beg for their marriage to be salvaged, but her gaze said everything. Finally, Rodney let out a deep, weary sigh and said, "No, Keisha. This is the end. I will never forgive you for betraying me. Pack your things, get dressed, and leave." Another wave of tears threatened to spill from her eyes, but he motioned for her to hurry. She tried to plead, to do anything, but her husband simply left the room, leaving her alone with her packed suitcases. That night, just before midnight, Keisha left the house. Rodney didn't feel the need to delve into the details of her affair, the reasons behind it. It all felt pointless. He saw the problem and believed the only solution was divorce. For the next week, Keisha mourned the loss of her marriage, seeking comfort from her friends. Eventually, they convinced her that perhaps it was fate, that things like this didn't just happen by chance. Max, the man with whom she had been having the passionate affair, soon learned about her marriage. Now that she was officially single, he could pursue a relationship with her without any barriers. But just as Keisha began to think about the future with him, Max found out that she had been hiding her marital status all along. He was repelled by her deceit, and when he learned that her husband had kicked her out, he lost all interest in her. He stopped responding to her calls, and that's when Keisha truly felt the weight of her loneliness.